My name is Linda Hochstetler. I'm a social worker and psychotherapist. Stages 1 to 4 of Erik Erikson's Stages of Human Development from birth to age 12 were covered in the video of part 1. This is now part 2, and I'll be covering stages 5 and 6, which is adolescents ages 12 to 17 and also young adults ages 18 to 40. These are actually the most difficult years and are most likely to bring the greatest number of people into psychotherapy for added support. Stage number 5 is about adolescents, ages 12 up to 17. And this brings about major changes led by changes to the body in puberty and reorganization at the brain level. Puberty is beginning earlier and earlier, with numerous explanations for why this is so, but I won't try to go into these theories right now. But do know that it tends to show up earlier for girls by around age 12 when breasts and pubic hair begin to grow and hormones increase feeling intensity. First menstruation is earlier, often in public school even. For boys, puberty tends to show up more around age 14 with extreme height growth and facial hair and testosterone leading to increased aggression and energy. Interest in sexuality becomes a primary preoccupation at this stage. Teens today have many more options for sexual orientation preferences, including all the acronyms, or all the options in the acronym LGBTQ2S+, as well as asexual. More options don't necessarily make it any easier to choose one's identity, but hopefully stories of the painful coming out and being judged by parents and communities is lessening as we learn to accept and tolerate greater differences. Supporting teens as they explore the various options for themselves and not expecting them to settle on one option immediately is generally most supportive. It's normal to play around with various sexual identities well into the 20s and 30s and even beyond. Identity in general is the primary exploration of this 5th stage. Teens test this out by being like peers, as well as unique, and also like parents, as well as different from them. It sounds a bit discombobulating, and it is. At times, the behaviors look unpredictable and inconsistent from moment to moment. This is increased by the variation of hormones causing an intensity in feelings, both positive and negative, and animacy of ideas, some rational and reasonable, but others not. Teens like to act like they are in total control of their own lives. However, most teens still live at home with parents, pay no rent, and don't cover their own general expenses. It's a useful life skill for teens to work outside of the home to earn money and to learn financial skills for the small amount of spending they wish to do for extras that parents don't want to pay for. With part-time jobs in high school, teens learn about responsibility, being reliable, and how to get along with bosses and colleagues. I strongly encourage parents to expect teens to work part-time jobs for all the reasons outside of money. Another opportunity for learning about the family plan of household tasks begins much earlier, but I'm writing about it here because this is where it's necessary. I encourage parents to expect all children above the age of 5 to contribute 10 minutes a day to shared household tasks. When young, children might do basic tidying tasks for their own toys or setting and clearing the table for meals. As they get older, they may take on responsibilities for pets, garbage and recycling, or outdoor tasks like shoveling snow. By the time they're teens, they can help by cleaning washrooms, doing laundry, or making meals. It is incredible how much 10 minutes a day per person helps. And I should add that all adults living in the home should also be seen contributing, no matter their work schedules or abilities, as models to teens and children. These tasks can change through the years so that by the time young adults leave home, they have a basic idea of how to do all the tasks necessary for making a household run and stay neat and tidy. In other words, they know how to be good roommates. Teens will test boundaries. Like toddlers, they will practice saying no repeatedly and see what their parents say. It's important for parents to state their wishes, even in situations where the parents realize that they cannot control the teen's actions. I call this parenting in faith. The parent expresses their wishes for the teen explicitly, even when in the moment the teen appears not to be listening or agreeing to follow the wishes. It's important for the parent to speak up and share their wish with the hope that it might be realized in the future, if not the present. The teen is not doing anything wrong by testing boundaries, but parents must decide when there are deal breakers that they absolutely must insist on. These should generally be saved for big issues: safety from suicide, harm, or driving rules, mental health, addictions, and school rules. It helps if the parent is clear what they can control and what they cannot. They can hide car keys. They can refuse to give money that might be spent in ways they don't approve of. And they can refuse to drive teens to places after a teen exhibits bad behaviors. It's common for teens to try things for the first time. This could be drugs, alcohol, sexual behaviors, traveling, gambling, breaking the law, and many other activities. It is helpful if these are done in safe settings with friends or family. It is heartbreaking when these activities cause lasting harm that follows that teen throughout their life. Hopefully, parents have strong relationships with the teen and can discuss these life lessons openly and with reflection, without judging too harshly. It's easy to forget that we also made mistakes as teens. And given how discombobulating the teenage stage is, it is shocking that most parents expect their children to know what they want to do when they graduate high school. Most teens really need another year or more to form their own identity and know their own interests, particularly as it relates to their career. A gap year spending time away from parents is good for most teens to allow for identity to further develop. At this point, they are more likely to know what their interests are and be ready to commit to a college or university program or trade school. It saves everyone money and time to slow down that career choice till the body and brain of a teen is more settled. Stage number 6 is the young adult stage. It's generally for ages 18 to 40, and it is a period of further exploration. For most, this includes relationships with people beyond their family. Individuals will move away from home for work, school, or travel initially. Some people need a few years to prepare after high school and may not feel ready immediately after graduation. A gap year or more has become more common, particularly for individuals that have just not yet figured out what their interests are for work and career, and either the individual or the parents are reluctant to invest significant amounts of money toward an idea that is not really clear. But whether it's parents that are too controlling or teens that are overwhelmed by too many choices, it is common for the recent high school grad to not be able to tune into their own career aspirations enough to see a clear plan initially. It's really important for parents to step back and give space to the teen to tune into their own voice and think seriously about what makes them happy and might create a lifestyle that works for them. This includes a career that is satisfying in many regards, including income, stability, work schedule, location, and appropriate meaning. Ideally, the teen can find a way to sample the career in a small way through volunteering or working at the bottom rung of the career before they fully commit to it. This can be frustrating to some teens who feel like they are already prepared enough for the career without the education or training. And some careers are harder to sample before committing to. There is a real trend in over-responsibility in parents that have enjoyed being helicopter parents since birth. These parents protect children from failing at anything and intervene to prevent necessary struggles. In these cases, the children never learn resilience and how to come back from failure and rejection, and this carries into adulthood. If parents have hovered over children in younger years, it's even harder to step back in early adulthood if they see the teen struggle in any way. However, if parents start parenting children with 100% responsibility at birth, by 18, they should be down to 5 or 10%, with the teen ready to be 90 to 95% responsible for themselves by 18. I often use the metaphor of helping the 18-year-old to get into the driver's seat of driving their own car. As a child, they might have sat in the back seat without any responsibility. By 18, the parent may still be around, but only as passenger in the front, and no longer driving the car. It is appropriate for the older teen to be responsible for navigating the car in the direction that they want, with directional guidance from a parent. This guidance can sometimes take the form of financial support, but never without guidelines and consequences. At 18, the support is dependent on actions that the teen takes to earn the support, like attending classes, doing work, showing up at work in a reliable way, and being respectful in communication with parents. Without meeting those needs, the child earns consequences and perhaps does not deserve the support that the parent had originally offered. This young adult stage is also when most individuals will seek out romantic or sexual relationships. Given the wide range of sexual orientations today, as described earlier, there are a lot of letters that individuals can choose from, and sometimes this long list of letters, LGBTQIA+, I can barely say them without stumbling, it can be overwhelming and often hard to commit to. Some people choose letters differently, explorations different year by year, and they might try one of these on for a while and change their mind. This can be frustrating and even embarrassing for parents trying to keep up and stay open and non-judgmental. Individuals used to wait to experiment with sexual identities until they left home, felt it was safer then, but more and more teens are feeling free to explore this earlier and hopefully having less judgment and shame than in previous generations, and this really is a good thing. If the individual has a secure childhood and strong relationships with parents, they find it easy to develop good relationships at this stage. They demonstrate a sense of commitment to each other, communicate well, and have a strong sense of security with each other. They manage finances successfully together and navigate trust well without jealousy or doubt in the relationship. For others, early relationships are a source of trouble and disappointment, with others failing to meet their needs time and time again. Unresolved issues from childhood with parents and society really show up in early relationships. A fear of commitment and basic lack of trust in others often leads to short, unfulfilling relationships. A relationship ending may lead to feelings of loneliness and despair that can be difficult to move on from. Many suicides during this life stage, are triggered by failed relationships and what the individual tells themselves about their future without this person. One failure supports the fear of repeated failures. Endings don't inherently mean failure, but they can feel like failures at this stage of life. Identifying what an individual wants from their relationships can be difficult to navigate. Many people find it difficult to know what they want themselves and then find it harder still to speak up and ask for what they want. They may hear inner directives about what it means to feel worthy and to stand up for themselves. Thanks to recent research in neurology, we now know that the adult brain doesn't fully develop until around age 25. The shakeup that happens in puberty requires years to regroup and stabilize to create finally the adult brain that includes executive functioning, ability to think analytically, and a potential to appropriately emotionally regulate. This doesn't stop society from giving young adults below this age the freedom to vote, join the military, drive a car, even a big truck, and have babies. There is something useful in letting young adults make their mistakes out of the home and away from parents' watchful eyes. It can be too painful to be overly involved and observing, without being able to also control those bad choices. However, it is a necessary stage of identity creation to try out different roles and views during this stage. Individuals between 25 and 40 are generally thought to be in their most exploring stage of life. During this period, most individuals will either have children or decide not to. It's probably the most important factor that will influence this period in terms of finances and time management, as well as mental health and a wide range of other factors. It's easy to stay friends with couples, singles, and others choosing polyamory or other styles of relationships, but matching up friends with and without their own children is a key differentiator. And a growing number of people are either not in the kind of relationships that would support children at the right age, are choosing to not have children, or are unable to have children. On the other hand, conceiving children through IVF or IUI for straight and gay couples has never been more common and accessible through universal healthcare funding. Supporting both females and males on this major decision is an important part of understanding this 6th chapter. The next video, part 3, will cover the final stages 7 and 8, middle adulthood and late adulthood. Stay tuned.